Shri Mataji, what is Sahaja Yoga?
Sahaja, Saha means with, Ja means born. So it is born with you the right to become united, which is the yoga, with the divine.
And this Sahaja Yoga is something that everybody can have, is it? Is something everybody can practice?
Of course.
And how does this connection with the divine take place?
We have within ourselves this power in the triangular bone, which is called as sacrum, meaning sacred, which when awakened sprouts like a primule in a seed and rises through 6 subtle centers, opens out the last center and gets connected with the divine, which is a subtle energy all around us, which organizes us, which nourishes us, does all the living work. Above all, it loves us.
Does this mean, Shri Mataji, that people who have not had the ability to practice Sahaja Yoga are not connected with the divine?
Most of them are not. And if some of them are, they don't know all about it.
So this is an extra force that is available to human beings to develop themselves in this world.
Of course. This is the last breakthrough of our evolution, where you have to get connected with the divine, you have to feel it on your central nervous system, and that's how you get your self-realization.
Do I perceive here that this is a way of balancing oneself, of keeping in such a way, of living one's life in such a way that one is not unbalanced in one's view of what is going on around us?
Yes, we have 2 sides in our system of autonomous nervous system, left and right, which we call as left and right sympathetic nervous system. The left side caters for our emotions, for our past, our desires. The right side caters for our action, physical and mental. If you indulge into one too much and go too far with it, you develop an imbalance within yourself. In the center lies the third power, which we call as parasympathetic nervous system. This is the channel which is the central path of ascent. When the Kundalini rises through it, it brings you in the balance because it rises in the center of the system. So this is the minimum that happens, that you develop your balance.
So how does one actually achieve this balance?
It just happens spontaneously.
In other words, there's no physical requirement on an individual?
Not at all, not at all. It's a evolutionary step, as I told you. In our evolution, we have developed a balance. We can stand on our 2 legs. Animals cannot. In the same way, you develop this special balance between your emotions and your actions in a very proper way.
You speak as though this is some sort of evolutionary step.
Yes, it is. It is the last breakthrough, that you have to become the spirit now. And this has to be achieved, which can be achieved only through a living process, because we have become human beings through a living process, and that living process has to act within us.
This sounds as though it is rather a significant time then in the history of humanity.
Very much. In the history of humanity, in the history of evolution, in the history of spirituality is the most important time, because here where you will get whatever has been promised to you so far. So
it's no accident then that Sahaja Yoga has appeared in the world at this time?
No, not at all, not at all. It's all predicted thousands of years back in India, and later on by many saints. Even William Blake has predicted it.
Now, Shri Mataji, you went to Russia last year, and I believe the reception you got was most surprising.
Yes. I was myself surprised because thousands of people came, and very sensible, well-educated people came, and they all settled down. thousands. I didn't know how to cope with that number because there were so many. And even the members of the Supreme Council, the government, they came in. That I could only say that in the so-called free societies, we waste too much time experimenting with our freedom and indulge too much into the politics, which is a waste thing, I think, then economics, all these things. While the people there didn't have any such chances. So they put their energies to something that was higher than that. They diverted it. And they were very knowledgeable. They knew a lot about seeking, they knew a lot about Kundalini, and as if they were just waiting for me. It was very remarkable.
Mr. Gorbachev has said the Russians require a mental revolution. Do you see the acceptance of Sahaja Yoga as part of this revolution?
Of course. He himself is a saint, and what he is meaning by mental, that they should now understand that they have to develop that balance between communism and democracy. Our democracies are imbalanced. They are one-sided. They have not the other side of collectivity. But communism has collectivity. It is power-oriented. Our democracies are money-oriented. What he is meaning is the maturity of our wisdom.
So, referring back to what we were talking about earlier, is it okay? As we were talking about earlier about bringing the human body into balance, could we say then that Mr. Gorbachev is bringing the whole Eastern Bloc into balance?
Yes. Yes, they had gone too much on one side, and he's trying to bring them in the center.
You mentioned that you went to an Eastern Bloc conference last year, and I believe you gave many influential people realization. Is it true that you believe that this was instrumental in helping the overthrow of oppressive communism?
It was a yoga seminar, and I expected all of them to be there. And surprisingly, I talked to them hardly for 30 to 35 minutes, and then I gave them realization, and all of them got it. They were representative from all these Eastern Bloc countries. When they got it, they were so surprised at it that they walked out with me out of the hall, and nobody was left in the hall to listen to other people. They gave me their addresses, and they said, we want this only in our country. And they wanted to start centers, and I'm told they have already started centers. The all-pervading power requires a medium to trigger something. And when these people were created as realized souls, as they got connected with this all-pervading power, I think they triggered it. They had that confidence in them, that courage in them. Because once you are realized, you become very courageous, and you want to establish truth at any cost.
Shri Mataji, the West, shall we call it the Western nations, have had Sahaja Yoga available to them to investigate, to see for themselves how it worked for 20 years. And yet it has been very slow to grow. Why has it happened this way, do you think?
Here people have so many diverse ideas about things. They are very self-opinionated also about things. And the so-called man-made religions all over have also conditioned them too much. They have other conditionings of different norms that they have as far as the social life is concerned, and the physical appearances, rather on a very superficial level. So the people have not grown, I think, so much deeper. Of course, I must say there are so many seekers in the West, so many seekers. And they were lost because as soon as people knew that there's a market for them, the false gurus jumped out and they started preaching about false things, just to earn money. They were all money-oriented people. Now there's another psychology with the Western mind that you must buy everything. If something is not for sale, then it is useless. And this psychology has really deterred them to come to Sahaja Yoga very much, because this is a living process and you cannot pay for it. And they couldn't bear it. I mean, actually, I must say, one of the very important television gentlemen told me off that Anglo-Saxon brain cannot accept anything which cannot be sold. And I didn't know what to tell him. I just said, who has made this brain? If God has made, then why is it so?
So you have an expectation, really, that this thing called Sahaja Yoga will change the world.
Of course. It changes human beings and they manifest the change outside. And we create a new race. That's what they're talking about. If you go, they talk of new age, of a new race, but I don't know what is their imagination about it. They talk about all these things, Aquarius, and Aquarius is the Kundalini. She's placed in the Aquarius, and they talk about Aquarius age, all kinds of things. They're talking, writing, thinking about it. But when it comes to actualization, I think they think I am very too simple for them, not complicated. And Sahaja Yoga is too simple. It should be very complicated. And all their own ideas about seeking, that they must suffer, they must go to Himalayas, they must starve themselves, and then only they can get realization.
Shri Mataji, is the evolution of the planet closely related to the evolution of humanity?
Of course, it is. Very much related. And the planet, our planet is moving in a spiral way. All the planets are moving in a spiral way, and they are creating all possible things for the use of human beings so that they can save time. Save time for getting their ascent and for meditative growth. But people don't understand that part.
There are theories around now that the suggestions, so we say, that the planet could be a living organism, a complete entity.
Of course it is. One of the examples of this one I can give you is that if you sleep under a coconut tree, a coconut never falls on anything that is living, whether it is a human being or a snake. It never falls.
That is so, is it? All around the world, coconuts never fall on living creatures.
Yes. So they understand.